but I know I love you, and that may be all I need to know.
Kind of a Art or Bust. That's the name of Bette Midler's new HBO special. It's going to air this month. It's a capsulized version of her most recent stage show. And this show, quite simply, left the critics awestruck. They said it was a Bette Midler they just had never seen before, that she had a new kind of maturity, a new sense of purpose that they hadn't seen. Both the stage and cable show carry a message. And last week, Bette Midler told Joan London what that message is and how it came to be.
I'd always liked art, but I'd never really, it was always very superficial. My interest in it was always very superficial. And I got more and more interested in it a couple of years ago, and it made me feel great, because everything in modern art that I looked at and was interested in had taken place in a time that was very much like the times that we're going through now. There was an industrial revolution. It was sort of a, a response to the industrial revolution, and I felt that it was a good thing to remind people that even though there were great changes taking place, that you could still remain human through looking and appreciating beautiful things and creating beautiful things.
Art is really all we have to live for. Is my pursuit. I studied form and line. I worshipped at its shrine. Art is the tree, and I am just a fruit.
I wanted it to be coherent and focused, and I wanted it to say something about humanity and people being trapped in a world full of technology and not really understanding it and feeling as though they had no way out.
Streets full of people, all alone. Roads full of houses, never home. Church full of singing, but it's out of tune. Everyone's gone to the moon.
I was terribly, terribly upset a couple of years ago because there was so much going on, you know, in cable and video, and it was all brand new, and it just seemed as though there was really no place for me and there was no way for me to comprehend it, and there was no way that I would be able to, actually it was the fact that I didn't understand it, and that it was all brand new, that threw me into a tailspin. I was exhausted because I couldn't understand it. I still can't. I've seen word processors. I've never used one. I've seen computers, but I have no idea why anybody would want one when you have a file cabinet. And I'm sure that I'm missing something.
What about the music industry? How do you think, I mean, you really describe it as kind of a lack of emotion as all the technology takes over. How does that, as you look around and you listen to the music today, how do you think that's affected your industry?
Well, the song is not as important as the groove. It used to be the song and the combination of beautiful melody and beautiful lyric, you know, the sentiment that was expressed. But now it's not so much, it's not that anymore. It's much more, you know, how can you dance to it? It's how many beats a minute is it? And which clubs like to dance to 160 beats a minute, and which clubs like to dance to 120 beats a minute.
And after a while, kind of all sounds the same.
It does tend to sound like you're living with a jackhammer, in your house. But some of it is really, really great. I thought the stuff that Prince did this last record was really terrific. When Doves Cry, for instance, is like, I thought was a terrific lyric. I mean, I'd never heard that in a pop song. You know, you're just, you know, maybe I'm just like my father, maybe you're just like my mother. I thought that was really an interesting thing to say.
But something unique, something to think about.
Yes.
This reminds me, in your book, with the saga of Baby Divine, the moral was really cherish forever what makes you unique, because you're really a yawn when it goes.
Right.
This was a children's book, and How do we make sure that children today can grasp that kind of a thought when there's so much pressure for them to conform?
I have no idea. I wrote that book hoping that someone would, I wrote the book hoping that the message would come across, but I don't have any idea if it's going to work or not. It's just a little voice in the wilderness. People aren't really, they're not really concerned with teaching children to be individuals. I don't think they ever have been. I think the kids that do survive that do come out being unique and not being afraid to be left out, are very rare. I really don't have a plan.
Well, you
However,
obviously...
when I run for demagogue,